Hi everyone, my name is Bo Birchfield and this is Executing a Process. For my assignment I got Kian's process, I hope I pronounced your name correctly, Kian, which is making an omelet with vegetables, cheese, and meat. Now the precondition for this process is have all your supplies clean and on the counter. So I got the skillet, got the bowl and everything, so we're ready to go with that. So let's get started. We're going to get to the first line right here. Okay, first line says mix all ingredients into a bowl. So let me just make sure I got my camera. All right, here we go. So first we got the eggs. Then, I don't know about you guys, Kian didn't write down any specific ingredients, which is cool because it gives me room to improvise. Let's assume that in the program, the ingredients were already listed. So we got eggs, poured in a little milk, got some cheese in there. Now, as sad as this is, I don't really have vegetables, so we're going to say the vegetable is a vegetable. And we've got some ham. I like ham and cheese omelets. So we're going to do that. And then on the counter over here, I have salt. I have salt and pepper. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that. Now, the first decision is, if you want extra fluffiness, mix 2 tablespoons of pancake mix into a bowl. Well, we're not going to go by that because I don't really like mine fluffy, kind of more compact. The second is, if you want extra flavor, which I do, then we're going to do this action, which is locate and sprinkle some Creole seasoning instead of salt and pepper into the bowl. Well, I only poured a little bit of salt and pepper, so we have our Creole, and we're just going to throw a little bit of Creole seasoning in there. Now, after that, we pour roughly half a cup of cooking oil into the skillet. So we have our supplies here. We're going to go ahead, pour a little bit of cooking oil, around half a cup, I would say that. And that's about it. And then the next action is turn stove to medium to high temperature. So we're going to go over here and we're going to turn the stove on, let's say anywhere between medium and high. Now, the next step is wait until oil has light sizzle. Now, here's one of the problems I've found with the instructions. All of our material was supposed to be on the counter, and if we wait for this to have a light sizzle, we're going to be waiting for a little while. So I think that it would have been better and that it would have worked for there to be some directions to taking the skillet and putting it on the stove. So I think from this point, if we're going completely by the instructions, then we would kind of end up here, or we would continue on with the directions and pour our mixture in and everything, and we'd have an omelet that was uncooked. Instead of doing that and wasting a perfectly good omelet, I'm going to go ahead and let's say that one of the instructions was to put the skillet on the stove. So we're going to do that now. So now we're going to wait for the oil to have a light sizzle. I'm not going to make you wait with me. And we're back. So our oil has a light sizzle, so that meets the requirements for that action. The next action is pour mixture of ingredients into skillet to cook. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Here we have our ingredients. And there is the beginning of our omelet. Now, it's kind of building up a little bit. I think maybe half a cup of oil was a little too much, but maybe if we had more ingredients, then it wouldn't. However, I still think it's going to be a pretty good omelet. Now, the next action is a decision. Is if you don't want food to stick to the pan, which I don't, then you should flip the omelet over after about a minute of cooking. So we're going to wait. It's probably been 10 or 15 seconds now. We're going to wait just a little bit longer and flip it. I said all the utensils were on the counter, but I forgot one, the spatula. One second. So we have our spatula. We're going to wait just a little bit longer. Alright, that seems to be about a minute, so we're going to go ahead and flip. Now this is kind of a large omelet, so the flipping process is going to be kind of messy. Might have to do it in 2 steps. There we are. The next instruction is another decision, and it is, if you want extra cheese flavor, which I most certainly do, it is sprinkle more spreaded cheese on top of omelet to satisfaction before folding it in half so it'll melt faster. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now there's a little bit of, that's a little bit of an interesting wording. It says to sprinkle the cheese before flipping it in half. So I've sprinkled the cheese, but it never actually tells me to fold it in half. But so I think that maybe we would skip that. I'm not really sure, but we're going to go ahead and fold it in half. So there it is. Our omelet is folded in half, so the cheese will melt faster. This is a little melty, or a little messy, but I think it should have been a little bit, I think it would have been a little bit cleaner had I used the right size pan. So a little bit too big of a pan, I found out now. Anyway, the next instruction is to scoop out of the pan with the spatula and enjoy. So we have our plate. It doesn't necessarily say to put on the plate, and I guess I could enjoy it right on the spatula, but we're going to go ahead and do this. Like I said, it's a little messy. And there it is. Also, there are no, I've noticed now that there are no directions that say to turn off the eye of the stove or anything like that. But our post condition is actually to plate, that the plate and utensils are ready to be used on the counter. Now, I think that our post condition should rather be probably that we have an omelet ready to eat on the plate. But I think that's just a little misworded. But what we have here is a fully cooked omelet. Now, it's a little messy, but that's not any fault of the directions. However, I believe that completes the process. Now, we have some following questions on the end, and the post condition really didn't fulfill itself, so I can't really show the post condition. Now they are clean and ready to use, but you know, now they have an omelet on them. Let's just go ahead with our video questions. The first question being, were the actions and decisions clear and concise? What could have been done better? Well, the actions were pretty clear. Um, I think certain things could have been said better, especially I believe that there were some missing actions, like obviously taking the skillet and putting it on the stove. However, eh, those things are easily mistaken, but I think that goes to show how easily we can miss directions in our programming. Um, so that's a good lesson learned. Um, Other than that, it may have been good to give more measurements, maybe the amount of eggs needed and things like that. Of course, one of the preconditions was that all of our materials, all of our supplies were on the counter and ready to use. So maybe um, part of the preconditions would be the knowledge of what materials you would need to use. Um, Other than that, there was a point where we had the omelet on. We had just put the omelet in, and then we waited a minute to flip it. The next instruction was to add cheese and possibly fold in half, and then to scoop it out. Now, if I had cooked the omelet for a minute and chosen not to have cheese, flipped it over, then I would instantly take it out of the pan and put it on the plate, and it may very well not be completely cooked. So what you may risk by skipping that instruction is a undercooked omelet. So I think those small details are very important in the overall. Um, well, they're important for us to get to the post condition that we want. Um, Also, I believe that the post condition should be that we have a omelet ready to eat rather than that the plates are clean and on the table. Okay, let's move on to our next question. All right, have you learned anything from this experience that you will use to improve your process description moving forward to the next assignment? I believe so. I believe that what we've learned here is that there are some very small, easy to miss details that cannot be missed to make a process work correctly. Um, had we gone exactly by this process, what we would have is a uncooked omelet. Um, well, uncooked ingredients on a plate now, and that's not where we want to be. So those little details are really important, and I think that's a very good lesson learned, and really probably the reason for this assignment. Overall, it was a good set of instructions. Kian, I still hope I'm saying your name correctly. Um, you did a great job. Just a few little things missed, and that's about it. We've learned quite a few good lessons, and we know how to move forward. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Bo Birchfield, and I enjoyed making an omelet with you guys today. Have a good night.